Oh. Oh, okay. Okay. So I started talking about in the Great Cosmic Mother, she talks about, or it is in there, they talk about the word men. And also I've done a video where I talked about where I go into the 9 moon calendar and why, and the moon. But she really breaks down men. Even in the Sybil Bible, as I call it, they talk about how the fallen angels came to the daughters of men, meaning men were women, what is now called women, and men were womb men. They were men who came from the womb, okay? But the daughters of men were the women. Oh my gosh, this is so confusing. So I say that because as we break down certain words, that's one that I wanted to kind of note. So in the language of the goddess, there's a whole part on the serpent goddess, okay? So I went to that part and I read it all yesterday. And I just want to clarify some things. So the snake goddess, as you can see, is about halfway, not halfway, but this is the beginning of the book. So the beginning of the book, she starts, she calls these creative symbols, and the snake goddess is the last of those. But in this, she talks about also the bird goddesses, which were pretty much, from what she's describing, from what I'm learning, the bird goddess was first. Okay, so I'm just going to show you some pictures of the bird goddess symbols because she mentions them and they become kind of repetitive in can I bring my other book out here? Oh, it's under the computer. Okay. And I have one more book, so I'm going to actually changes it a little bit. That's okay. I also have this book, Ancient Egypt. Okay. Anyhow, because there's some pictures in there that will relate to this as well. But so she starts with the bird goddesses, and this is where I feel like when it comes to when they talk about the Sibyls and then the doves and even the vulture when it's related to Isis, and the crow when it's related to a lot of American indigenous, and the whole, you'll hear in some of the depictions of the Sibyls in the writings of the ancients that their utterances were like the birds, like it would be like quick and almost ununderstandable. Okay, so here's another figure and some photos of bird goddess. Okay, has a bird in the background, so awesome. And then, and she let's see, this is a good one because it can relate to the snake goddesses as well. All right, so there's just some depictions of the designs. She also speaks about the chevron with the bird goddesses and the breasts. She goes into the breasts of the bird goddesses. So I just want you to notice that a lot of these bird goddesses have elongated necks, interesting shaped heads. Okay, similar to birds. Okay, and then she goes into water, and so the chevron is, the theory is that the chevron depicts water as well. Okay, and then she goes into the eyes of the goddess. And I find this interesting too because in a lot of the pantheons, the deities don't have faces necessarily. So we go into, so that's like the owl, right? The big eyes. So she's still kind of in the bird goddess part. All right, and then the ram. She moves into the ram, right? And a lot of times we can relate this to some of the signs, right? Like they talk about the ram's age. And I just wonder sometimes about, the time they tell us. Okay, and then the net motif. I'm just showing you guys this because it does all relate to to the snake goddess. Okay, let's see. Put that up a little better so you guys can see it. Okay. Okay, so, and then trees. We're going to the tree. Look at this. This is just so cool. Okay. Tree goddess and the power of the tree. And okay, and then we're starting to see a lot of coils in this timeline. And this is a very, very powerful energy conductor of the coils. There's some videos on YouTube you guys can check out. They're always in clockwise order. Always. They're always in clockwise order, okay? And there's something to that. And then, let's see. And we also have like yoni and vulva. And so, honestly, you guys, this also relates to like the Catholic Church. The doors as you enter a church. Pay attention to those things if you are a churchgoer, because it relates to the goddess. Okay, so now we're going to move to the snake goddess part. All right. So, I'm going to remove this. You see a lot of stuff I underlined. Snake goddess. So there's the netting, the elongated neck. So you can see the progression from the bird and the netting and the ram relation even. But mainly the elongated neck. Okay, and even the eyes, but no real face. Okay, so the snake is a life force, a seminal symbol, epitome of worship of life on this earth. It is not the body of the snake that was sacred, but the energy exuded by this spiraling or coiling creature which transcends its boundaries and influences the surrounding world. The same energy in the spirals, vines, growing trees, phalluses, stalagmites, but it is also especially concentrated in the snake, and therefore more powerful. The snake was something primordial and mysterious, coming from the depths of the waters where life begins. Its seasonal renewal and sloughing off its old skin and hibernating made it a symbol of the continuity of life and of the link with the underworld. Okay, the symbols surrounding the snake and the anthropomorphic snake goddess are the same as those associated with the waterfowl and the bird goddesses. Okay? The symbols surrounding the snake and the anthropomorphic snake goddess. Anthropomorphic means she could regenerate herself. Are the same as those associated with the waterfowl and the bird goddesses from okay. All right. The snake is more powerful. The snake has more. Oh, that's right. Here we go. The same energies in the spirals, vines, growing trees, phalluses, and stalagmites, but it is especially concentrated in the snake, therefore making it more powerful. Okay. The snake is a transfunctional symbol It permeates all themes of old European symbolism. Combined with magic plants, the snake's powers were potent in healing and creating new life. A vertically winding snake symbolized ascending life force, viewed as a column of life rising from caves and tombs, and was interchangeable symbol. It was an interchangeable symbol with the tree of life and spinal cord. What? This is why you see the snake in all the medicine stuff. Okay? The tree of life and the spinal cord. I think that's your nervous system. You know how I feel about that. Okay. And also, similarly, snake coils exuded regenerative force as the moist eyes of the owl goddess and as the sun. In old European, snake is clearly a benevolent creature, except when the death-wielding aspect of the goddess is represented. Then she is a poisonous snake or appears in the guise of a woman with some features of a snake. In this art, we do not find anything that reflects it as being evil. Okay? So, let me just show you some other pictures. Okay. The representations of snakes are known since the Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic and Neolithic era. It's old. Snake coils appear on pottery. You see the netting also as well, but usually, as you can see in the figure, in this figure, not only are the snake coils there, but it's surrounded by the netting, as in to like hold the energy there, is what their theory maybe it could represent something completely different. I don't know. Okay, look at the elongated necks. Now, what you notice in these is they don't have, their arms are not sticking out. So in the description of the snake, I mean, they're sticking out in this one. They're not out like this. Okay. Because in one of the descriptions in the thesaurus, it said that the snake is a limbless, elongated, and it moves with its muscles. And so in most of these depictions, the goddess is limbless, or her limbs are imbued with snake-like features. And these are from all over. Okay. Let's see, this big tall figure 208 is from Crete. This one is from Crete. Okay. Let's see. And these are from Anatolia is the top one. Yugoslavia is the second one. So Anatolia, Yugoslavia. Namagaza. I don't know where that is. Also in this book, it makes me Namagaza, this one. This book is like, I'm like, there's so many places in the world, I have no idea. These figures are from Knossos. K-N-O-S-S-O-S. Gnosis. Okay. And these depictions are snakes on the back, all the way down to the chevron and the netting. Snake head. And then this one is, so all those lines are considered snakes, and then see how the head is kind of like a snake shape. Alright, so we're going to get to the fun part, as I couldn't believe this. Oh, here's a very interesting one, and this was found on a Celtic queen's tomb. So literally all around the world. It looks a little, kind of not what, but here are the snake-like and even octopus and even snail-like curvature there. This is a bird and serpent goddess worshipping house. Okay. And then I just want to show you one of the temples in Egypt before I go on. Oh, that's right. This is on one of the tombs. There's another one. Those are all cobra heads. Okay. All right. So I'll just read you the underlined parts because that's why I underlined them. In the symbol system, as opposed to Indo-European mythology, black is not the color of evil, but of fertility. That's why I underlined it. One more time for those in the back. Okay. I'll relate to you the symbols. So she starts talking about kind of like the descendants of the prehistoric snake goddess in the folklore, and the beautiful Hera, one of the most revered Greek goddesses, is likely descendant of the prehistoric snake goddess, as she was called origin of all things. Hora, where we get hour from, is another one. It's also where we get seasons from. But in the cow Marsa, which is another goddess that is represented in like shepherd towns of Latvian areas and their mythical stories. But she is also called what? Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Sorry. I'm kind of tripping out because of somebody that I follow on YouTube. Anyhow, the cow Marcia, or as she is also called, the Fate, Leviathan Laima, of cows, Latvian Laima. She is also known as the Fate of cows. Appears in animal stocks as a black snake, bug, or a hen. Her presence brings fertility to cows. She is responsible for the easy birth of calves. This is just relating because she is also represented as a black snake. So, in this symbol, and she represents good pasture lands. In this symbol, as opposed to Indo-European mythology, black is not the color of evil, but of fertility. This is why it's the great black cosmic mother. The cosmos is dark. Earth is dark. The womb, no matter what your melanin is, the womb is dark. Okay. And I would assume that it's probably pretty dark inside the testes. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I should check that out. Okay. Her representations in relief. This is still relating to Marissa, and this is through like Irish roots. Is related to the Irish saint Breed, who was also associated with cattle and was held to be a cowherd. All right, moving back to the snake, full on back into the snake symbol. Okay, since the 7th millennium BC, the crown is the most consistent feature in the portrayals of the snake goddess. This lives on in European folklore in the belief that some snakes appear crowned. These crowned are the symbol of wisdom and wealth. A person who struggles with a huge white snake acquires a crown that enables one to know all, see hidden treasure, and understand the language of animals. The crowned snake is the queen of snakes, or the mother of snakes. She rules over her own clan of snakes. It is believed that snakes were seen to appear in large groups, the queen mother rules over her own clan of snakes. In folk beliefs, until quite recently, snakes were seen to appear in large groups following a crowned leader or having a meeting presided by the queen. That's interesting. If the queen was touched or harmed, all attendant snakes are alarmed. Now, there are celebrations all over from Malta and Greek and Slavic countries that specifically Lithuania that observe the greatest respect to snakes. It is good luck to have snakes. Now, in some of these, okay. Also, Breed or Brit is, or what is mistakenly called Brigid. Today is the day of the bride. The serpent shall come from the hole, basically. I think we get Groundhog's Day from this, because they would wait for a snake to come out on February 1st out of the serpent's hole on Imbolc Day, the day of the bride or breed. Okay, in Lithuania, this is the day of the serpents. This has been, in Lithuania, this is the day of the serpents. Kir mai ai, Kir rimenlin, or Kirimili, meaning serpent. When serpents come from the forest to the house, is what that day is. On that day, whose present Christianized equivalent is called Christii. Christii is her name, and is celebrated January 25th. People would shake the apple trees in the orchards so that they would be more fruitful and knock on beehives, waking the bees from their winter sleep. The awakening of the snakes meant the awakening of all nature, the beginning of life of the new year. There was a very interesting text from the 16th century honoring them as deities a certain time of year. They would invite them to the table with seers' prayers. Crawling out from out of their sleep, they lie down on clean cloth and make themselves comfortable on the table. There, tasting every little dish, they slither on the ground and return to their hole. With the retreat of the snakes, the people happily eat the dishes that have been tasted by them, confident that at that time in the coming year, everything will go well for them. And in And if, in spite of the seer's prayers, the snakes don't break away from their lair or do not come and taste the laid out dishes, then they believe in those years a huge misfortune would befall them. This is in 1979. The tasting of the food by the serpents signified their blessing, which guaranteed a successful continuation of the year. Okay. Wait, did I not? Okay, here we go. Oh, Hermes is supposed to be in their beliefs, the consort of the snake goddess. Well, Hermes Trismegistus is supposed to be Thoth, and I theorize that the creator of writing was a female. And in his writings he says, I am not a son of man. So it makes me wonder or I am not a man. Meaning, I think he might have been either hermaphroditic, which is where I think we get hermaphrodite from Hermes, or female, fully. Okay. Hermes was once merely a phallus, that he was once merely a snake, is a theory. And he always carries his staff of magical wand, the Kyrion, with his twisted snakes. And he shines forth. The earth blossoms, and when he laughs, the plants bear fruit at his biddings. The herds bring forth young. This all goes back to snakes being... Okay, this is my favorite part, y'all. Oh, some of the theories says that snakes could help heal, and that if a snake were to bring an herb, that meant that it was blessed by the goddess and would bring healing. So like if a snake brought some sage into the house, like apparently. So the snake as a household divinity. This is, I'm reading this whole thing to y'all. Much of what continues until recent times in the beliefs concerning snakes in the Greco-Roman world and in the peripheral European villages is paramount for our understanding of the role of the prehistoric snake. The repetition of a number of traits in snake worship through time is quite striking and certainly speaks to a common prehistoric roots. Of singular interest is the widespread belief in snakes as household gods. They are guardians of the family and domestic animals, especially cows. They assure fertility, increase, and health. Each family and each animal has a patron divinity, a snake whose life energy was the same as of the human or the animal whose patron the snake was. This is manifested in the belief that if a snake is killed, the master of the household, a child, or a cow will die. Thus, the life energy of the snake is inseparable from that of the humans or the animals. Furthermore, the life force of the snake is linked to that of the dead, specifically the ancestors of the family. Thus, the snake symbolizes continuity of life between the generations, the hibernation and awakening of the snake, its renewal through sloughing off the old skin further enhance the belief in the immortality and the cyclicity of the snake. The awakening of the snake after winter's sleep meant the awakening of all nature and was celebrated in all of Europe. The return of the snakes was considered to have a profound influence on human and animal well-being for the whole year. Wait a second. I'm missing something. So somewhere in here, I read that. I talked about Lithuania. Okay. Wait. I left something out here, y'all, because I read that in certain families they would have snakes under the houses. Like, it was very important to have snakes under the houses. Yeah, I'm gonna read this first part, and this, and then this will pretty much be it, and then I'll bring kind of like this back because we have one more word to talk about. Okay. Thanks for watching. Both of these videos are pretty long, so thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and all your support. I appreciate you all and your comments, and just hanging out. It's fun. I appreciate it. Okay. At the beginning of the century in Lithuania, my mother observed the greatest respect paid to snakes. They lived under the floors of houses, were fed with milk, and were even allowed to come inside people's homes. The same reverence was exhibited in Malta, Greece, and the Slavic countries. To harm a green snake was a great sin. A snake in the house meant happiness and prosperity, and ensured the increase of the family. It was even kept under the bed of a newlywed couple, and of animals, and of the fertility of the soil. They were guardians of the home. They were clairvoyant, knowing the future of family members and the location of hidden treasures. To this day, snakes decorate the corners of windows and roofs of the Baltic farmhouse. 300 years earlier, in 1604, an astonished Jesuit missionary reported on the snake worship in Lithuania. Quote, "The people have reached such a stage of madness that they believe that deity exists in reptiles. Therefore, they carefully safeguard them, lest someone injure the reptiles kept inside their homes. Superstitiosity." Oh, superstitiously. We just make up words. That's what words are. They're made up. Superstitiously, they believe that harm would come to them should anyone show disrespect to these reptiles. It sometimes happens that reptiles are encountered suckling milk from cows. Some of us, monks, actually tried to pull one off, but invariably the farmer would plead in vain to dissuade us. When pleading failed, the man would seize the reptile with his hands and run away to hide it. This description vividly portrays the very strong survival of old European snake worship, even in late Christian times. So, even the Yule log goes back to the snake. It's a sleeping snake, and it is literally a sacrifice of the snake to begin its hibernation cycle. The block in Lithuanian, the name of one of the names for the snake in Lithuanian is kalade, block, which contrasts with the general name for snake, gaivate, meaning life force. In Greek, the word geras means old age, and the sloth of the snake. Further linguistic associations with the Yule log speak of burning the old hag. In the Highlands of Scotland, the Yule log is called Kalalia, the old wife hag. Remember my video on Kalalia? By killing the symbolic old snake, its revival was ensured for the spring. It was believed that the ashes of the Yule log could heal cattle, enable cows to calve, and to promote the fertility of the earth. This belief is yet another link to the functions of the snake goddess. Now, guess what the next word is? Sybil. But we started with Okay, we start with Sybil, and then we move into... Where did I go with this? Maybe it'll lead me to it. Okay, this is what I did. I started with Sib. Sib. Related by blood. Okay, Sib. And then Siberian, because there is a Siberian Sybil. So I just kind of went down the thing. Okay. Siberian, pertaining to Siberia. Siberian tree of the apple genus. A Siberian dog, which we all know, Siberian Huskies, right? Sibilant, Latin, Sibilans, Sibilas, Sibillo, to hiss. Sibilant, to hiss, hissing, making a hissing sound. So, s is sibilant. A letter that is uttered with hissing of the voice, an S and Z, sibilance, sibilancy, the quality of being sibilant, a hissing sound. Sibling, a brother or sister without respect to sex. Sibling. Sibyl, Greek. Greek, Latin. Sibilant is Latin. Sib. It relates. It doesn't say where it really comes from. It just says Sib. Siberian is pertaining to Siberia. It doesn't say where that comes from either. But Sibyl comes from. Sibling is Anglo-Saxon, which is English. Okay. Or a form of English. Sybil, Greek. Oh my gosh, and that's a whole nother thing. I did a whole nother thing on Sybil because somebody posted that Sibyls didn't speak English. Well, that's true. Well, Sybil is an English word. So what did we call ourselves before that? Great Mother says we called each other Ma. Before we called each other like sister, we would be like, hey Ma, to each other. That's what Great Mother said. Anyhow, Sybil, a name common to certain women, mentioned by Greek and Roman writers, and said to have been endowed with prophetic spirit, hence a prophetess, a sorceress, a fortune teller, a witch. Sibyllin, adverb, pertaining to the Sibyls, like the productions of Sibyls. Prophetical, Sibylline books, certain books containing directions as to the worship of the gods, the policy that should be observed by the Romans, etc. Purchased by Tarquin the Proud from the Cumaean Sibyl. So what this is saying is that the Sibylline books were directly from Cumae, which I don't remember that. I mean, we do know that she sold the books, but I didn't remember that part about it. I need to reread the Sybil book. Why did I come back to this? Because of the Sib, mostly because of the Sibilant and the Sybil. Sibilant means to hiss. I mean, do you see the big connection all the way around? There was something else from yesterday. I think that's mostly it. That was a lot. That was a lot. there's a lot of information coming out. I heard some information yesterday that I don't know how I feel about it. Because, anyways, we're not talking about that. I just wanted to share about the snake, the serpent, writing, wrist. Oh, there was in the languages of the goddess, when I was talking about how the Jesuits showed up and saw what was going on with the snakes in the 1600s, I really do feel like the wrist, writing, became writ, and that our meaning the Sibyls, the great mothers, those who can who are elementals connected to the earth, to fire, to the ethers, to animals, to water, to air, were the original knowers and teachers. And by like belly dancing, and by our movement of dancing, by the one of the words in there had one of the words I looked up when it came. Oh, writhing is also something that comes from the WIR, writhing. And what it looks like when you're giving birth and how you're moving, even though I'm pretty sure we used to squat because that would be the most normal position. My guess is it's kind of what I was downloaded. And we see this, way back, not laying down, but in some cases maybe. But that the umbilical cord, the movement of the mother, when a woman is dancing with her hair, all the different things that are snake-like, right? Snake-like, and how her power and her essence had to be literally demonized. And then we take another creature, which we're not specifically talking about spiders, but grandmother spider. We used to talk to spiders and snakes. These people had them under their houses and were benevolent. They are not what we have been interpreted to understand, and this is what keeps us. So if we're trying to move toward the Great Mother, but we consider snakes evil, then won't there be a little maybe resistance happening? I don't know. I feel like it's these little magics, these little spells that we are duped into unawares. Because it keeps us from connecting. And man, snakes. I met this guy one time. He had a python. It might have been a rosy boa. I feel like it was bigger. And he would call that snake, and it would come to him, and it would like hug him and rub on him. I mean, it was beautiful. I never forgot that. I just thought it was beautiful. Because we are not really, I've never been really afraid of snakes. I really, really like snakes. I love snakes. And I'm not afraid of them at all. I like them. But I didn't imagine that kind of a relationship with snakes. And I mean, I feel like that's literally the point of keeping us afraid of certain beings or creatures, and then we're actually we're like programming our nervous system in a way that isn't beneficial when we're not really taught to think about things. Most spiders are not poisonous, and poisonous spiders typically don't come out and bite people. And same with snakes. So that is most of the video. If you're still around, awesome, because we're going to talk a little bit about the, you know what, I'll do a completely different video on that. Okay, thanks for being here. Do 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 do, wah wah, na 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 na, see 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 see, ooh ah hey ah hey hey, ooh ah hey. Thank you for being here. And until next time, take care.